Thank you for having me here today in Singapore, I should say in Asia. I've been traveling 19 countries in the past 12 months for discussing, helping clients on crowdfunding. I should say the virus of crowdfunding bit me about 8 years ago when I was presented a memorandum of investment from a company called Zopa. Well, this company went on to be a huge success in the UK. As you know now, they are even turning down offers from banks to be bought out. And this is how wonderful, Zopa shows also how wonderful the crowdfunding adventure can be. I mean, they started from being a very small company to being a very big one. We have other examples. For today, I wanted to do a very inspiring speech. So I thought about a title, Crowdfunding for the 21st Century. Okay, it can be inspiring, but we are already 14, if not 15 years in the 21st century. So maybe my presentation would have been inspiring 15 years ago. Crowdfunding has been here for the past 15 years. I mean, you don't know this, but there were a lot of tries. There were a lot of companies that started in the years of 2000, some successfully, some less successfully. But this is not new. This is a trend that is here to stay and is continuing. And it's very interesting that I'm invited today in a crowdsourcing event because all these trends, crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, participate in the same trend. People participate. It's about people. So with this title of presentation, I will start in a minute, but I wanted to show you a world where not only banks could issue money and lend money, but also the digital players. I wanted to show you a world where people with rare diseases could find the finance to fund their innovations. I wanted to show you a world where people don't have to fill in lengthy forms to get the money they need for the enterprise. I wanted to show you a world of efficiency in finance. Very difficult job, very difficult. And because I can't do that, because this world doesn't quite exist yet, I will just use a quote from a very great man for which the history proved he was right. You know this guy. We cannot connect the dots looking forward. We can only connect them looking backwards. And so I will not have the pride to show you what's going to be the future of crowdfunding. I mean, I'm going to give you today some dots that you can connect to make your own future stories. These are very important dots that I find now are very important for the crowdfunding industry. Now, Epi said, okay, I participated co-founding the European Crowdfunding Network. This network gathers 25 members, platforms, and they all share the same challenges, and I will show you these ones. Before I start this, I will make a few words on why does crowdfunding exist. There are many reasons for this. Is it the internet? Is it because of the social and economic crisis? Is it because of prominent individuals embracing it? As you know, Elon Musk, John Mack, former CEO of Credit Suisse, is now in the crowdfunding space. Also, the French president, François Hollande, is embracing it. Is it because of the success stories? Zopa, Kiva, Lending Club? My take on it is just crowdfunding exists because it's possible. Now, we have all the ingredients to make crowdfunding possible. We have you in the room, professionals in big companies, technicians. We have sufficient awareness to make this dream come true. And it's already happening. And it's only the start. Why crowds embrace crowdfunding, crowd investing, crowdsourcing of finance? Because they want to know where their money is going. They want greater transparency. I like to hope that crowdfunding is the end of investing in a sustainable fund where you invest in companies that engage in not so sustainable activities. I'd like that it is the end of a world where you invest in a fund, and whether you choose fund A, B, or C, it always goes to the same people or the same companies. And I think this vision of greater investment transparency is shared by the majority of the crowds and big motive why people invest through crowdfunding. Don't cry about money. It never cries for you. You know, crowdfunding is about money. But it's not just about money. It's about people. People behind, people funding, people that are passionate about a product, about a project, and that will actually contribute from their own money that they have hardly earned because they believe in it, because there are people behind. So the story is important. We talked about this, but it's about people. It's about social connection, investment opportunities. It's about support and professional services. It's not just about money. And that's where crowdsourcing and the link with crowdsourcing is important. If I want you to go home today with one takeaway of this presentation, would be that crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, it's the same family. They have to work together. It's not just about money. It's people, it's support, it's resources. Now, I told you in my day-to-day practice, working with crowdfunding platforms around the world, what I see is a big challenge right now, is the permanent imbalances between investors and investment opportunities. Good projects. You are today a crowdfunding platform or a big corporate. You have to deal with permanent imbalances. It's very difficult to keep it. You need good projects. Every month you are funding, you do your operations. You need good projects every time. If people come and they don't see good projects, they will not invest. But you need the investors as well. You have a fantastic project. And gosh, this month, everybody is on the beach. How can I fund these wonderful projects? I believe there are many wonderful projects through crowdfunding today that are not funded correctly, even though they could be very successful. So those microeconomic impacts or changes, time to time, will have a huge impact on your platform. And because today crowdfunding is so small, remember, it's a tenth of a thousand of the traditional finance in terms of volume. Because it's so small, very small movement in the economy can impact your platform and your business in a great way. So that's difficult to deal with. And that's where collaboration, crowdsourcing, and helping each other, helping platforms helping each other, big companies helping platforms come into place. It's about collaboration. If we cannot collaborate, sharing project opportunities across platforms and players, and sharing investors, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. And that's where maybe the role of banks and financial markets is coming into place. I hear bruises in the market. Banks say, you know, you've invested in a nice project. We could invest along. It would be fantastic. Crowd taking the first level of risk, and we as bank, we just come and complete the project money. Think about this. And once the projects are financed, you have a whole bunch of projects funded, ready to go on the secondary market. You heard about securitization. Maybe it could be a good way to do securitization with real project, real people. Trends in crowdfunding are lightning bolts. In the past 5 years, the growth in the crowdfunding industry has been above 80% per annum. It's a lot, but we start from nothing. But 80% per annum is what is going to continue to grow on. And more importantly, you will see trends and niches, specific parts of the market that's going to grow even faster. We talked about Kickstarter projects. A lot of of it is driven by the gaming industry or even connected objects. So you will have some sort of niches where you will see tremendous growth. And you, as professionals, as companies, you can spot those trends in your own industry, in your own markets, that will make you successful in this market. And remember to collaborate with the others as well. Crowdsourcing versus crowdfunding. This is a very important slide. I mean, for the past 3 years, I've looked at crowdsourcing and thinking, is it different? Is it the same? What is crowdsourcing about? What is crowdfunding about? I come from the banking world. I worked a lot with banks before. Now I'm more on crowdfunding. But isn't finance only for finance people? And crowdsourcing just for IT people or adventurers? No. No. I showed you collaboration is key. We need to find models. Crowdsourcing, crowdfunding working together. They are the same things. I like to think crowdsourcing has its roots in being global. It's about connecting resources that are available globally at a good price, somehow. Or if, when you talk about data crowdsourcing, maybe it's free. And connect them globally in a way that it can benefit your business. And I like to think that crowdfunding is something more local. You have to have your inner circle, you know, the first circle where you can actually fund your business, people who know you, where you can kind of manage the risk. You can talk to them and in a way have proximity. 4 years ago, we did extensive studies and showed that crowdfunding mostly happened within a very close local community. So before I was thinking like global versus local, crowdsourcing is global, crowdfunding is more about local finance, and now I see that things are blurring. Limits are blurring. Another dot I would like to share with you today, which will make you able to do your own story about the future, is about the importance of IT and data. Well, when we talk about crowdfunding, it's very IT intensive. We talk about system, computers, automatized way to put people together. So IT and data, the data structure is key. If you want to be able to collaborate with others, you need to be able to speak to others. Yesterday we talked about this, interoperability is key. If you want to reduce these imbalances between platforms, being able to share investors, to share project opportunities, you have to find a way to connect to other platforms. So APIs, inputs, quality of data are going to be keywords also in the industry in the future. Before I wrap it up, another dot very important is that we today are in a big, big race. A big race in this market. Because it's a new market, because it's spanning different countries, people coming from all over the world. They are not localized anyway. We cannot say that the platform belongs to a country. It's very difficult. How do you do this? It's a big challenge. It's actually because of the internet. And so now you have the US, the UK. They understood this. And in crowdfunding, I think they are trying to go quite fast. Not all people in the US try to go fast when it comes to crowdfunding regulation, but there is people understanding. In Europe, too. In Europe, last year, we filled up a workshop at the European Commission, 700 people. Half bankers, the other half platforms, packed room. And guess what? The commissioners told us, we have seldom seen such a packed room. They were very happy. So this is a race that has started now, and that will end up maybe in 10, 15 years. But it's a race to get regulations, to get the market conditions and the ecosystem right, so that it can grow even faster. I think Singapore also has it right these days. And we deal on a daily basis with those people. In the crowdfunding network, we help four countries already to change law in Europe. You say it's not difficult because many countries in Europe, but it's still a large step to go. We want to see more collaboration amongst countries. We want to see big regions to understand all the potential that crowdfunding has. Before I finish, I would like to say as well that if you're a big corporate, if you're a professional, there are many solutions that will enable you to create your own platform. Crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, open innovation. I would like to cite a few. You have Crowdonomics, is going to talk today. Nicolas Castelnuovo this afternoon. You have, for instance, platforms long been in the market like GrowVC. They also provide solutions. And you have, for instance, in Europe, MyPies, which also provides on-demand market platforms. So if you're interested, it's not especially a big project, but it's important that you understand the strategic importance of it. So crowdfunding platforms need to become the Facebooks of project investment. This is key. So linking, this is going to be my conclusion, linking with other people, other market players, enable them to mix into your platform is very key. And they need more services and partnerships. So if crowdsourcing could get hand in hand with big crowdfunding platforms, we're going to see a whole new span of project opportunities in this world. So that's going to be my conclusion for today. So thank you very much. If you're interested to do a project with us, please don't hesitate. If you know people interested in doing a project, you have my contacts here. Thank you.
I can just ask, the European Commission just announced a communication on crowdfunding. What are your views on that?
I hope that I shouldn't comment on it in Asia, but I think what we've seen is that it's very difficult to shape a regulation. I mean, as representative of crowdfunding platforms, I should say that we want to see as less regulation as possible right now. I mean, the market is still growing. Some platforms are still operating in a startup mode. So anything that would impede the business would be kind of bad. And I think somehow the European Commission understood this, and they went for kind of a soft approach with recommendation and kind of a roadmap on how they see crowdfunding. I think for us it's most important to see that they see crowdfunding in a positive way. For us, it's really the biggest message for now. It's not a roadmap for regulation. So this we will see when the new European Commission board will come into place, what they actually want to do from a regulatory standpoint. And the other point is that they don't have a mandate yet from the countries to actually issue regulation. They're waiting to get this mandate from the countries.
I just wanted to ask, based on your experience with banking, what are the services that crowdfunding could take over or could provide that banks are traditionally or were traditionally providing? What is the merger, the possible merger between crowdfunding technology and services and what banks traditionally used to do?
What I think is that most traditional financial players are most afraid now is not so much the financial size of it or the business that could go away, because they are still way too big to be really afraid. What I think they're afraid is that their clients, their consumers, would actually do mistakes and don't get the correct advice from their banker. They want to retain this relationship. I mean, the banker is in many ways still the first point of contact when it comes to investment. They don't really want to see this customer go somewhere else to get kind of investment opportunities. And the same goes true for entrepreneurs. Well, I should say bigger companies. Once bigger companies enter the market of crowdfunding and start issuing or borrowing money or issuing equity through crowdfunding and not through banks, then they will need to adapt and offer a more crowdfunding-like service and experience to their clients.